is he like the best non-first round pick they've had in I don't know ever?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he's the exception. If you look at like forwards that they've hit on in the last 10 years, I looked at this recently. I think it's like Nyes, Robertson, Holmberg, Minton, who's gone, Gurbenkin, who's gone. No, I just mean forwards. Yeah, and if you want to add forward, you can add a Wall, and then like defense, it's like there's Sandin, Liljegren. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that they've done well enough. And part of it obviously is trading first round picks, but like teams find players outside the first round all the time. So
and that's the key.
Yep.
That's the key outside the first round, right? You got to find some gems there, and then develop them too. It's not something. The player didn't develop. Well, what could we have done differently? How could we help that player?
Well, yeah, I mean that and like you said, there's no cap on it, and there's no rhyme or reason for why you can't do it. But if you don't pick the right guy, doesn't matter who you have working for him. If he's not a player, he's not a player. You know, like you got, and it's diamond in the rough stuff. Once you get outside of the top, even 10, it's a gamble. It's a crapshoot. You know, like is there a big difference between the guy being picked 28th and the guy being picked 38th? No, but the 28th overall gets to call himself a first-round pick, right? Where the 38th overall is a second-round pick. But there isn't that much difference, and that's. You know, there's different ways to build. There's different ways to do it. I get it. It's not, and everyone's in the same boat. The competitive teams. If you're a very competitive team for a long time, you're going to trade picks. You're going to trade prospects. But I guess I'm not even talking about the Leafs in particular. I'm just saying if the league is going to be more about keeping your players, then you got to make sure you have the right guys in order to pay them. Like if there's just not going to be a free agent market. And maybe it's different. Maybe next year there are 4, 5, 6, 7 stars that make it. But if the stars in particular keep staying and you get to July 1st and it's more depth players, then you're not ever going to build a Stanley Cup winner on July 1st. Like, and maybe that's never happened anyway, but that's kind of what I take out of the last 2 or 3 weeks.
But you
there weren't enough impact players available.
But I don't think you should be trying to build your team in July 1st. I think you're trying to fill holes, right? Trying to fill the top of your roster. Like, tell me the best July 1st signing in recent memory, right? I mean, Tavares has been productive for the Leafs. I think Hyman's another guy who's been productive. Right?
Yep. Hyman was a great one. Yep.
For the Oilers. I think back to a number of years ago, but like Chris Drury and Scott Gomez both signed to Rangers. Man, it helped them. I don't think they didn't take them to the Stanley Cup, right? And so, I think you're trying to just find, just slot guys in and fill a second line or a third line or fourth. I mean, like Nick Ehlers is a good player, but is he changing the whole dynamic of what's going on in Carolina?
No, he's not. And conversely, if you're in Winnipeg, you probably wanted him to stay.
Oh, yeah.
But you can live without him, right? You have to. That's the sport. And I think this is a win, again, getting back to the news of the hour, that Gabe Vilardi signed a 6-year deal at reportedly $7.5 million. Is now you got him on term, you got Scheifele on term. Connor's going to be a big one. I think Kyle Connor, does he have 1 year left on his deal?
Yeah,
I think so.
They can extend him right now.
As of now. And that one is one I would think they are actively trying to do.
That's any extensions? Has there been any extensions?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not a year out. Like obviously McDavid being the biggest one that we're waiting for.
Well, Eichel. I thought Eichel would have signed it already. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I thought Eichel would be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I want to stay here. This is good. I like it here. I won a cup. Like, to me, you believed in me as a team. It's okay. I can do the searching. Like, I thought for sure that was going to be done.
And the Marner bar is there now. I'm sure he's going to say, I got to make more than him. Maybe he takes 12 on the nose. But I would think if I'm Eichel, I play a more prominent position. I think he's a better player, and he's been there longer, and he helped them win a Stanley Cup. So he's probably like, all right, I'll take 13. Like, it shouldn't be that complicated. If Marner's making 12, I'll take 12.5 or 13. But that maybe it is complicated, because maybe Eichel's looking at it saying, well, Draisaitl signed for 14 a year ago, and now the cap's going up. I want 14, and then that's when it gets a little bit dicey all of a sudden. Because Vegas, has been a team that's been very cap compliant. They've been very active. They've brought in a lot of different players. They've been probably the most proactive team in hockey, maybe in pro sports period, the last decade. But if you lock in Eichel at $13 million, $14 million, and you got Marner at 12, like those are two big commitments all of a sudden. Those are two guys making a lot of money.
You guys ever wish that there was more player movement in the NHL?
Sure. I mean, for the nature of our business, it's always way more compelling when you get, crazy trades and more movement. But it's on the players in order to push for that.
But so how would that work? Like shorter contracts? Is that like the only way? Like if you're the NHL and you were like, we want to have more intrigue around our league. We want players to move around more. We don't want players just staying with one team their whole career.
I don't think that. I think the way around it is get rid of no movement clauses. Get rid of no trade clauses.
I agree.
That's what stops trades.
Yeah, I guess that's
Teams
true.
would trade players in a heartbeat. It's players don't allow it because I think the nature of our conversation is proving even if you can only sign a 3-year deal, players will just keep re-upping if they like where they are, right? Like the players that get comfortable somewhere, like Sidney Crosby would have signed 21-year deals in Pittsburgh, right? He doesn't need an 8-year deal or a 7-year deal. I don't think the term matters. It's on the players' mentality that they'd want to do it, and I'm not sure they do collectively as hockey players. It's get rid of no trade clauses. Get rid of no movement clauses. You do that, like if that, put it this way, what we just saw, if they didn't exist, Mikko Rantanen's a Maple Leaf, more than likely, right? Mitch Marner's in Carolina down the stretch last year. There's a blockbuster deal, but no movement clauses exist, and the player to his right executed his. That's the way to get movement going in the league, but I don't even think Lloyd Howell Jr. would accept that. Started giving up those, man.
No.
The PA's
even
not
at his
doing
best, when he's really rolling his bars, even he wouldn't go for that. I guess the other thing, this is pretty crazy, but you negotiate a buyout with your player, and then that money is not on the books. So I make $10 million. I want to buy. Okay, you want to buy me out? Give me 8. Okay, done. Now that money is buried. And then the guy just goes to free agent, and that doesn't sit on your salary cap for years to come. You don't multiply it by 2 or whatever it is. So that would be pretty dramatic. The rich teams would love that.
Yes, well, and that's why it'll never happen because Bettman will always think about the lowest common denominator, and the smaller market teams and the owners will say that's not fair. We can't buy those people out. Owners don't want to spend more money than they have to. I like that idea. And it does give you flashbacks, like to remember, like coming out of the lockouts, how cool it was when each team had 2 buyouts, and there were all these debates, like who are they going to use it on? You got to buy that guy out, and like it's so impersonal. Like if you're the player and you're listening to
it's hurtful
bozos like us, be like, you got to use it on Jonas. You have to buy that stiff out. He stinks. He's not worth the price. Like you're just like, I'm trying to get back in the league. We just voted on the CBA, and I'm getting bought out. What's happening here? But I like the buyout world. I like that.
It is crazy. That'd be a crazy situation. But I keep going back to when the Leafs asked Marner about moving his no-trade clause for Rantanen, and I wonder if that wasn't kind of the last nail in the coffin, because that's hurtful. You've worked so hard for this one team you're drafted by, and then like, we like you, but we like this guy a little bit better over here. And maybe by then they felt they weren't able to sign him. I don't know, but Jonas, I don't think that helped that whole situation. It wouldn't help in any situation.
We have no way of knowing, like, if it would have changed history. I agree with you. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, he was never going to say yes. Like, there was no way. So, like, why risk it? Like, if it like hurts you by like 5%, but maybe they just knew like he was gone already. I don't know.
I think it's more likely that's the case, man. This guy was going to Vegas. They knew it. He knew it.
But you had all the reporting at the time, Hayes, that they were still trying to sign him. And,
yes.
like, he just wasn't playing ball.
Wasn't even answering them.
So it's like, I don't know.
I don't sympathize for him at all in that scenario. Like, how dare you ask me? They've been trying to negotiate.
No, but like, what's to be gained by it? Like,